Men make more false allegations than women.
Well, if nothing else, this should be interesting.
I just think it's funny that if you look up any research on loneliness, which is an
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, I bring you a story that shows just how low betrayal can go. A man who was stabbed in the back by his own wife, who not only cheated on him with his cousin, but also ended up pregnant by him. And as if that weren't enough, we'll also see some women criticizing today's men by calling them princesses, when in reality, they're the ones who want to be treated like queens without giving anything in return. We want you to smash that like button. Help us reach our goal of 1,000 likes on this video. Leave your comment with your experience and wisdom. We always pin the best comment for the community. Subscribe, and let's get started.
Men make more false allegations than women.
Well, if nothing else, this should be interesting.
I see men on this app constantly making false allegations of sexual violence to push a point.
Let's be very clear here. They are actually stating that men who are making accusations of assault are making it up.
And I've never seen a woman do that. Men also will say that they've been falsely accused of SA when in reality, they didn't.
So when it comes to men and SA, they are automatically guilty. There's no innocent until proven guilty. But if a man says something about a woman doing it, they're lying.
And we know that the majority of the time when a woman says something happened to them, it's true. When it comes to SA, men love to lie and say that they didn't do it and blame the actions solely on the woman, when in reality, you did it, and you are right now making a false accusation against the woman, stating that she falsely accused you.
Circular logic is always the most fun to try to follow, isn't it?
And I'm sorry, but you're going to start needing to provide proof that you were falsely accused. Because if I have to provide proof that I was sexually assaulted, you need to provide proof that you were truly falsely accused before I can believe you.
It is entirely possible they've never actually heard of why there is this thing called the burden of proof. Nor have they apparently heard how difficult it actually is to prove a negative.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
It's incredible how we've reached the point where a woman's word can destroy a man's life in minutes, without evidence and without consequences for the one who lies. In this country, a single accusation is enough for a man to end up in handcuffs, bearing the public humiliation and the financial ruin of paying lawyers, even if he's innocent. That's why more and more men are protecting themselves. Cameras in the office, avoiding closed-door meetings with women, watching every word. Because today, a simple hello can turn into an accusation. And it's about time there were laws to punish those who make false accusations, so that the era where destroying a man came free and without consequences finally comes to an end.
I just think it's funny that if you look up any research on loneliness, which is an epidemic in the United States, you'll actually see that men and women rank pretty evenly in all the research for years. In fact, when I looked at it, there was only one study that revealed men ranking just a little bit higher than women. I think that was like 2020 or 2021. In fact, women are typically higher than men in loneliness research because men have a shorter life expectancy, which means many women are left widowed or unpartnered. So, of course, they're going to report being lonely. The problem with calling it a male loneliness epidemic is that resources are not focused on women, and women feel isolated and feeling lonely when we don't have a people loneliness epidemic, rather a male loneliness epidemic. And taking it a step further, not only are we erased from the problem, we are blamed for the male loneliness epidemic.
Stop it. Get some help.
What surprises me is how easily they manipulate the narrative. How can they try to sell the idea that there are more single men than women when statistics show there are 6 million more women than men? That's basic math. But of course, modern feminism thrives on rewriting reality to fit its narrative. Now, subtract from that number the gay men, the ones dating trans women, and those who simply want nothing to do with the dating market, and the scales tip even further. Yet the focus is always on lonely men, as if they were the majority. so that women are cast as the victims and never as part of the problem. The truth is, there's no shortage of men. What there is an excess of demands and those infamous standards. As long as they keep repeating this story, they'll keep fooling themselves and feeding an ego that sooner or later crashes into the wall, because the wall doesn't forgive.
My wife at the time asked for a break, and obviously I wasn't too excited about that. Then I found her with a family member of mine.
Oh, gosh. Who?
Cousin.
Dude, cue the banjos, man. Like, is this a big shock to you?
So she had a couple of instances of infidelity prior to that I had found on her devices. She always swore it was nothing physical. It was just talking or exchanging pictures and stuff. So, I tried to move past that beforehand, but, it got to this, and this was a huge shock. We have a 3-year-old daughter, so, that made it.
I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah.
Jeez.
She actually, the ex-wife, we ended up going through all that, got the divorce last year. She has since moved in with a cousin. They actually just had a child on almost the year anniversary of me finding all of this out. I just kind of feel like, I'm just kind of floating in the wind. The days that I don't have my daughter, are obviously really hard. It's really hard to find motivation to get up and do much of anything.
Yeah. I can't wrap my head around the pain you've experienced. Well, I mean, just to put it down on a piece of paper, you're faced with this shock, right? That your body's failing you, right? And there's that sense of being betrayed by your own body, especially in a tough time. And most people don't realize that can happen over a weekend until it happens over a weekend, right? That you have a pain, all of a sudden that pain is real bad, and then you got kidney stones, and all of a sudden that's a nightmare. And then on top of forgiveness and your wife betraying, here's the thing, you knew for a while, and you ignored your own gut for whatever reason, and see that come true is devastating. And then I wouldn't wish, I've said this before on the show, I don't like to be gone from my son or my daughter for 3 days, much less just know, this is the rest of her childhood, is I get week on, week off. Mm-hmm. And then the extra kick in the teeth is, cool, she just moved in with a family member and had a kid with him. Just a slap in the face on top of a slap in the face, man. So let me just say this. Your body's right to just want to get under the covers and not get out. And I know there's a sense of, on top of the shame, on top of I should have listened to my gut, on top of all that stuff, there's this sense that your body's not working right. And I might be the only mental health professional that would tell you, no, your body's working perfectly. This idea that you just your body just feels like you don't want to curl up and I want to stay on the couch under a blanket, not want to move. I just want to be here. That feeling is right. We're not going to live there, but I want you to know that sense makes sense to me.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Brothers, a man who forgives infidelity condemns himself to live in a mental prison. No matter how beautiful the woman is, that wound never heals. Every time she goes out, your mind will be a battlefield full of suspicion and anxiety. It's not worth it. And here's the lowest blow. It wasn't a stranger. It was a family member. That's proof that the deepest stabs don't come from the enemy, but from those sitting at your table. That's why I never lower my guard with my partner around anyone, not even my own flesh and blood. This man now has 2 paths: drown in resentment until it consumes his life, or use that betrayal as fuel to rise stronger than ever. The sweetest revenge isn't a scream of rage. It's living so well that every time she sees you, she twists in regret for losing a man she will never find again.
Women.
I'm so tired of hearing about the male loneliness epidemic, so let's talk about the female loneliness epidemic, because we're experiencing one too. The one where men treat you like you're some fantasy object, and the moment they realize you're an actual human being with thoughts, feelings, and emotions, they're gone. Or when they want you for your body, but never have any intention of actually getting to know it or respecting it. Or when they want you for your emotional intelligence, even though they have no intention of ever reciprocating it. Or when they want you for what you can do for them, but they don't want you for who you are. That's loneliness. Crying yourself to sleep every night next to a partner who claims to love you, even though his actions never follow his words, that's loneliness. Being too afraid to open yourself up to love and opening yourself up to men because we live in a world where SA, domestic violence, and femicide is so normalized, that's loneliness. The difference is that the male loneliness epidemic is self-inflicted and the female loneliness epidemic is self-preservation.
If you need to make up a story to justify your uselessness, go ahead, but don't expect everyone to believe it. Living on excuses and blaming others is the fastest way to stay stuck. Someone who lives under the circumstances of others doesn't live, they merely survive. If you were never a real victim of abuse, if no one abandoned you after sleeping with you, if your tragedies are more imaginary than real, then you have the responsibility to change the kind of men you choose. What you don't have is the right to blame the entire male gender for your bad decisions. No one here is at fault for you choosing to repeat the same story with the same type of man and then selling yourself as a victim. And even less so for you protecting yourself from problems that never happened to you, but which you use as a banner to justify your loneliness. Protecting yourself only makes sense if what happens to you is like what you'll see in the next video.
My wife and I have been married about 3.5 years. 2 years in on the dot. It happened actually the night before our 2-year anniversary. My wife had a little bit of a break, that's to put it lightly, and she ended up having an affair. There was an emotional affair that had gone on for months before that I was very much aware of. And, we would talk about it. It would go away. It would come back up. And then I think it all boiled over in a physical affair with a completely different guy, basically a stranger, night before our 2-year anniversary. So obviously that blew our lives up. Probably the hardest thing I've ever had to walk through in my life. And that was about 1.5 years ago. But I made the decision of we are going to double down. And at the end of the day, when I go and meet my maker, I want to say we gave it all we had. And man, it's worked really well since then through a combination of friends, family pouring into us, people from church, literal just miracles. I didn't think we'd be here. Our marriage is currently better than it's ever been. However, dude, I feel like a wreck sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm just tired. And I think I'm struggling with a lot of trust things that I know in my head I can go a little bit easier, but I just feel like I'm really stepping in and trying to control everything. And I don't know if that's a place out of insecurity. There's always that voice in my head that is like, life is always going to be different. And I think I know that the perspective I have to have is I can't view it as we're trying to fix an old relationship. We have a new one. It's just tough, dude.
Yeah.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
They say every mind is a world of its own, but the idea of living with someone I don't trust is unacceptable to me. I believe 1,000 times more in starting fresh with someone new than in staying with someone who has hurt me. This man, even if he resolves this situation, will never have peace. This woman, on their 2nd anniversary, cheated on him. Then she did it again with a completely different guy. In short, she didn't care that her husband had caught her. She never regretted it. She just changed her modus operandi. This man is enduring and forgiving her mostly because of his religion. I'll say it again, the only one who forgives is Christ, and he died on the cross. Since I'm not the one who died, the devil himself can take you because I'm not going back to you.
So, what do you personally think is wrong with dating today?
I feel like people princess treatment, like they're not men.
You said princess treatment?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Like men need princess treatment?
Yeah, like they don't want to be like men,
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. No more men?
I think the problem is that men like to be petty and sassy, and they wait for you to text them first.
Yeah.
They wait for you to slide up on their stories, and
true.
it's like, I'm the girl, so I'm not gonna do that, so we're not gonna go anywhere.
All right, tell your man slay queen.
Yeah.
All right, and what do you think?
I think that social media just sets super unrealistic standards for relationships, and like it just ruins, it puts everything up. So yeah, men suck. I think social media just like puts like them in a whole nother world. Like, bro.
I mean, y'all are pretty good looking. You guys look amazing. So I'm pretty sure that you guys get hella DMs. Yeah?
I can't say 'cause
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
can't
text.
say.
Can't say, huh? Okay. And one last question for you guys. Why don't men chase anymore?
Cause they're girls. They want to be girls.
Because men think they're the prize now.
I don't know.
Okay.
I agree.
I agree with both.
Yeah. Yeah, they think they're all that. They're not.
What's your names?
Alani,
Naomi,
Ruby.
Okay. And where are y'all from?
We're from like the IE. Yeah.
Okay.
Just stop being bitches. Yeah.
Be a man,
Be a man.
for them. All right. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Wait, where can we find you?
Women say that men now think they're queens or princesses. Or maybe men just don't want to spend their money on a woman who isn't worth it. The logic behind this is that all women see themselves as good women who deserve traditional treatment from a man, when they themselves are not traditional. You want me to open the door for you, buy you things, be a gentleman, but the moment I tell you to stop showing yourself half-naked on social media, I'm controlling. You want me to spend money on you when you're not even my wife. With today's mentality of always chasing the bag, there will always be men you'll call princesses. Because if you want to be treated like a queen, you first have to qualify with the king. Drizzle, drizzle. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. What do you think about the woman who cheated on her husband with his cousin? Have you ever seen a woman say to you, "Queen, you dropped your crown"? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from The Wall.